Very good morning, children. Children, in our last lecture, we had seen about some part of lesson number 8, that is static electricity. Okay, we'll just revise what we had done earlier and then we will continue with the further part of the chapter. Okay, so in our last lecture, initially I had mentioned about some examples. The first example was that of a plastic comb or a ruler rubbed on dry hair and it attracts the pieces of paper. Okay. The next example was, if we pass near a polyester curtain again and again, then it gets attracted towards us. Okay. The third example, if we rub a blanket with our hands and take it near a metal object, a spark is seen in the dark. Okay. Now, all of these examples are related to a common term which is called as an electric charge. Okay. Children, we had also seen that there is an electric charge stored in our own bodies. Okay. We all know that all substances are made up of very tiny particles. Okay. And electric charge is an intrinsic property of these particles. Okay. When positive charge and a negative charge on an object are balanced, then the object is said to be neutral. That is, there is no net charge on the object. Okay, and if these charges are not balanced, then the object is said to be charged. Okay, children. Next, we had learned about what is repulsion and what is attraction, right, children? Yes. If two things carrying similar charges push each other away, then that is what is called as a repulsion. And if the rods carrying opposite charges get pulled towards each other, then that is what is called as attraction. Okay, children. Then we had seen about a scientist who named the charges positive and negative. Who was the scientist, children? Yes, the scientist was Benjamin Franklin. Okay, children. Then we saw that all objects are made up of atoms, which means that they are electrically neutral. Okay. Then we had seen about scientists called as Thales and Thomas Browne. What did they do? About 2500 years ago, a Greek scientist named Thales found that feathers are attracted towards a rod of yellow colored amber which had been rubbed against a woolen cloth. Okay. And since amber is called as electron in the Greek language, therefore this property of amber to attract the things was termed as electricity by Thomas Browne in 1646 AD. Okay, children. Then we have seen about what is frictional electricity. The electric charge that is generated by friction is called as frictional electricity. Okay. Now we will see and continue further part of the lesson. Okay. Today we will see about what is called as gold leaf electroscope. Okay. What is it? Its working and its use. Okay. Gold leaf electroscope. This is a simple device to detect the electric charge on an object. Okay, it consists of a copper rod which has a metal disc of at the upper end and two thin gold leaves at the other. The rod is placed in a bottle so that the disc is above the bottle. Okay. When an uncharged object is taken near the disc, the leaves remain closed. And when a charged object is taken near the disc, both the leaves are charged by the same electric charge and they repel each other. Okay, that is, they move away from each other or open up. And when we touch the disc with our hand, the leaves collapse because the charge in the leaves goes into the earth through the body and the leaves get discharged. Okay, children? Next, we'll see about another great scientist, that is Benjamin Franklin, who had invented what he has invented. Children, just now we had seen, right? He has invented positive charge and negative charge. Okay, so we'll see some more information about him. In the year 1752, Benjamin Franklin conducted an experiment of flying a kite with his own son William. Okay, the kite was made using a silk cloth, deodar wood, and a metal wire. The metal wire was joined in such a way that its one end was at the top of the kite and the other end was joined to the string of the kite. Okay, there was lightning in the sky on the day they flew the kite. When the metal wire touched the clouds, the electric charge got transferred from the clouds to the kite. Okay, then the loose string of the kite became taut and the electric charge reached the earth through the string. A spark was seen where the string touched the earth. Thus, he showed that lightning is a form of electric charge. Okay. Next, we will see about atmospheric electric charge. We have experienced clouds, thunder, and lightning. Yes, children? Sometimes we hear or read that lightning struck a tree or a building and some people or animals were killed, right? But children, you all would have wondered, how does this happen, right? And how can we prevent such injury or death? Okay, what is it that actually happens when there is a lightning in the sky and when the lightning strikes our earth? Okay, this is what is you have to get understood, and after you get understood this, then we will have some solutions. Okay, next we'll come to lightning. Okay, when air and clouds rub against each other in the sky, the upper part of some clouds on the upper side becomes positively charged and the lower side becomes negatively charged. Okay, the science behind lightning and a lightning strike is complicated. Okay, the science behind it is very much complicated, but we'll try to even understand that. Okay, let us therefore consider a cloud in the sky with a negatively charged base above a plain ground. Okay, when this negative charge on the bottom of the cloud becomes larger than the charge on the ground, it starts flowing towards the ground. Okay, This happens very fast and even much and in much less than a second. Okay, and the heat, light and sound energy that are produced along with the electric current. Okay, children, within a fraction of seconds this all happens, and the heat, light and sound energy are produced along with the electric current. Okay, next we'll come to a lightning strike. Okay, children, remember, lightning is different and lightning strike is different. Okay, you probably know that when there are electrically charged clouds in the sky, the electricity is attracted towards a tall building or tree. Okay, when the lightning strikes, an opposite electric charge is generated on the roof of a building or on the top of a tree by what is called as induction. Okay, due to the attraction between the opposite charges on the cloud and the building, the charge on the cloud flows towards the building, and this is called as a lightning strike. Okay, children. Now, children, just find out or ask the people who had gone through this that what kind of damage is caused by a lightning strike, and what measures will you take to prevent the damage caused by lightning. We can't stop the lightning, but at least we can prevent the effects of lightning. Okay, children, now we'll see about do you know. Okay, due to the tremendous heat and light generated by lightning, a chemical reaction occurs between oxygen and nitrogen in the air, and nitrogen dioxide gases form. It mixes with the rainwater, comes down to the earth and supplies nitrogen to this soil, thus improving its fertility. Okay, children. Due to the energy of the lightning, the oxygen in the air is converted into ozone. This ozone gas protects us from harmful ultraviolet rays that is coming from the sun. Okay, children. Next we'll see about what is a lightning conductor. Okay, where is it used and its working. Okay, the lightning conductor is a device used for protection from a lightning strike. Okay, it consists of a long copper wire or a copper strip with one end forked. This end is at the highest part of the building. The other end of the strip is connected to a plate of cast iron. A pit is dug in the ground. Coal and salt are filled into the pit, and the iron pit is placed upright in the pit. Okay. There is also a provision for pouring water in it. Okay, you also can pour water in it. This helps to spread the electric charge quickly into the ground and prevent damage. Okay, whenever an electrically charged cloud passes over the building, the electric charge flowing towards the building are conducted into the ground through the copper strip. Okay, and damage to the building is prevented. When such a lightning conductor, her thing is fixed to a tall building, the surrounding area is also protected from the lightning. You will get more information about how to get protection from the lightning in the next lesson of the disaster management. Okay, children? Now, what we saw today. Okay, today we saw about what is called as gold leaf electroscope. Children, why do we use gold leaf electroscope? This is a simple device to detect the electric charge on an object. Okay, what's the working of that? It is a copper rod which has a metal disc at the upper end and two thin gold leaves in the other. Okay, when a charged object is taken near the disc, both the leaves are charged by some electric charge and they repel each other. Okay, that is, they move away from each other. When we touch the disc with the hand, the leaves collapse because the charge in the leaves goes through the earth or through the body and the leaves get discharged. Okay, children? Then we saw about a scientist called as Benjamin Franklin. He was responsible for both the charges naming, that is positive charge and negative charge, and this scientist also conducted an experiment of flying a kite with his friend William. Okay, then we saw about atmospheric electric pressure. Okay, then we saw about lightning. Okay, where air and clouds rub against each other in the sky, the upper part of some clouds on the upper side, lower than the negative side. Okay, then we came to lightning strike. There are electrically charged clouds in the sky. Okay, and electricity is attracted towards a fully highly building and tall building entry. When the lightning strikes, an opposite electric charge is generated to the roof of a building or on the top of a tree by induction. Due to the attraction between the opposite charges on the cloud and the building, the charges on the cloud flows towards the building. This is called as lightning strike. Okay, next, last but not the least, we had seen about the lightning conductor. Lightning conductor is a device used for protection from a lightning strike. Okay, it consists of copper wire or copper strip with one end forked. Okay, this end is at the highest part of the building. The other end of the strip is connected to a plate of cast iron. A pit is dug in the ground. Coal and salt are filled into the pit and the iron plate is placed upright in the pit. There is also a provision for pouring water into it, and this helps to spread the electric damage quickly into the ground and prevent the damage. Okay, children? Whenever an electrically charged cloud passes over the building, the charges flowing towards the building are conducted into the ground through the copper strip, and the damage to the building is prevented. Okay, when such a lightning conductor is fixed onto a small building, so I asked your dad, so the surrounding area is protected from lightning. Okay, and children, if you are interested to gather more information about this, you can search the net. Okay, this is a very much interesting topic, and I hope you all like the topic. Thank you.